In the deepest reaches of space, far beyond the orbit of Pluto, past the point where the solar wind dies and starlight dims into an eternal hush, Voyager 1 continues its lonely voyage. Launched in 1977, at a time when disco ruled the airwaves and personal computers were still science fiction, this spacecraft has not only endured, but exceeded every expectation of its creators. It has traveled farther than any human-made object, speaking to us from the dark frontier where space itself begins to change. And yet, after nearly 5 decades of quiet observation, the most extraordinary part of Voyager's journey may have just begun. What if its most critical message, its most important encounter, was not in the past, but unfolding now? What if Voyager 1 has stumbled upon something utterly beyond human understanding? Recently, NASA scientists monitoring the probe noticed something deeply strange. It wasn't a typical glitch or hardware hiccup. Those are expected in a 45-year-old machine. This was something else entirely. A signal that seemed deliberate, patterned, structured. And most unsettling of all, it may not have originated from Voyager alone. There are moments in science where logic collides with the unexplainable, and this was one of them. Because buried in the transmission was a mystery, one that no existing theory or engineering principle could account for. Has Voyager 1, adrift in the cold silence of interstellar space, made contact with something, or someone? Voyager 1's odyssey began as a piece of bold imagination. NASA's plan to explore the outer planets using the rare gravitational alignment of the late 1970s. The probe's mission was to visit Jupiter and Saturn, collect data, take photos, and then drift into the cosmic night. But it did more than drift. It leapt beyond the known. Using the gravity of the giant planets to slingshot itself into deep space, Voyager 1 became the first human-made object to exit the solar system. For years, it sent back priceless information about radiation, magnetic fields, and plasma waves. Even today, over 15 billion miles from Earth, it remains operational, though just barely, powered by the fading warmth of a plutonium generator. Only a handful of instruments remain active, and communication is slow and fragile. Yet it endures. A lonely machine whispering across a sea of stars. Then came the anomaly. In early 2022, NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory began receiving an unusual signal from Voyager 1. The data stream was looping, a repetitive burst of binary code that made no sense. Engineers assumed a glitch in the spacecraft's telemetry system, perhaps a corrupted buffer or degraded memory segment. After all, Voyager was never designed for half a century of spaceflight. But as the team dug deeper, their assumptions unraveled. The signal wasn't random. It had structure. A rhythm. And the most confounding part? It originated from a computer system on Voyager that hadn't been used, or even powered, in decades. Under normal conditions, this would be impossible. The spacecraft's architecture isn't designed to allow rerouting through dormant systems without explicit ground commands. Yet no such command was given. There were no fail-safes triggered, no alarms. The probe had, by all appearances, made the decision on its own. A rogue maneuver, performed in total silence. That alone was alarming. But what followed turned scientific concern into something far closer to fear. When engineers finally regained standard telemetry, they found the incoming data had changed. Voyager's instruments, limited as they are, began detecting inexplicable fluctuations. Plasma waves rose and fell in strange oscillations. The magnetic field pulsed with unnatural regularity. And faintly, deeply embedded within the signal, was something even stranger, a pulse. Not cosmic noise. Not solar radiation. A deliberate, rhythmic beat. Consistent. Intentional. Like a digital fingerprint etched into the fabric of space itself. Publicly, NASA stated that this might be the result of instrumentation degradation. But internally, documents and private communications told a very different story. Some researchers admitted, in whispers, that the signal had all the hallmarks of artificial origin. Not from Earth. Not from any known source. It was as if Voyager had passed through, or perhaps been touched by, a zone of technology beyond our comprehension. Something structured. Something intelligent. Desperate for answers, NASA turned to artificial intelligence. A machine learning model trained on Voyager's entire transmission history was deployed to isolate anomalies. What it found was chilling. The pulse wasn't noise. It resembled a coded handshake, a method of communication. Not from Voyager, but to it. The implications were staggering. If true, it meant something had received our presence. Something had noticed. And then, the most chilling realization of all. This might not be the first time. Using the new AI tools, researchers reanalyzed old transmission data dating back years. In the static and scatter of earlier signals, they found faint echoes. Signatures long overlooked. At the time, they had been dismissed as data corruption or instrument error. But now, in retrospect, they formed a pattern. A trail. A breadcrumb path across space, all pointing to a specific region just beyond the heliopause, the boundary where the solar wind yields to true interstellar space. That region was once thought to be empty. But now, it appears to host an energy field of unknown origin. This field pulses and shifts subtly, almost imperceptibly, until Voyager approached. Then it changed. It began to react. Not randomly. With purpose. As if Voyager 1's arrival had triggered something. As if something had been waiting. And there's more. When scientists corrected for Doppler shift and reanalyzed the timing of Voyager's telemetry, they found a delay, one that should not exist. The delay was small, just milliseconds, but significant enough to suggest something extraordinary. Some researchers believe that Voyager 1 may have passed through a temporal anomaly, a boundary in space where time flows differently. Not due to speed or relativity, but due to proximity to something unknown. A gravitational or energetic structure capable of bending time itself. Voyager's clock had drifted. And the implications of that drift are staggering. It raises a terrifying possibility, that what Voyager is reporting might not be happening now. It may have already happened. Or worse, it may not have happened yet. And in all of this, the golden record suddenly takes on new weight. Voyager 1 was launched with a phonograph disc, a time capsule for the stars. It contains greetings in dozens of languages, music from around the world, scientific data, and images of Earth. It was never truly expected to be found. It was symbolic. Aspirational. A message in a bottle. But what if it wasn't just a gesture? What if something out there found it, and is now replying? Because inside that strange pulse, that anomaly-laden transmission, scientists discovered something else. A frequency. A narrow band signal that matches the encoding frequency used in sections of the golden record. Not similar. Not close. Exact. Not coincidence. Reference. As if something had studied our message. Understood it. And chose to respond, using our own language. This revelation prompted a new and disturbing question. How long has it been listening? How long has it been observing? And why wait until now to make contact? Then, as mysteriously as it began, the signal ended. Voyager's systems returned to normal. No further anomalies. No more pulses. Routine data resumed, as if nothing had happened at all. But NASA's engineers know better. This wasn't a malfunction. It wasn't noise. It was deliberate. And the silence that followed wasn't the end. It was a pause. A decision. Because something out there chose to reveal only a fragment. Just enough to be noticed. Just enough to awaken our curiosity. And perhaps that was the point. A whisper across the stars. A signal not to overwhelm, but to prepare. To say, we see you, now, do you see us? Voyager 1 was our silent messenger. A fragile vessel sent into the darkness, carrying our voice. For decades, it drifted unseen, unheard. But perhaps it was found. Perhaps it was never alone. And now, perhaps, we've been answered. But not with glowing ships or booming voices. Not with spectacle. With mathematics. With a pattern. A subtle, undeniable reply. The implications of this moment cannot be overstated. If the signal was truly from an intelligent source, if contact was made, then our understanding of our place in the universe has fundamentally changed. The era of cosmic solitude is over. And the era of cosmic awareness has begun. If this story sparked something in you, wonder, awe, maybe even fear, don't let the moment pass. Subscribe to Discoveryed 2.0. Because what comes next may shake the foundations of science, of belief, and of civilization itself. Share this message before the signal fades. Before the next whisper comes. Because the universe just spoke. And now, it's your turn to answer.